Hello everybody, hello everybody, hello everybody. Welcome to some Steam. Welcome to
Such an
some
intro.
Steam. I mean,
Welcome to some
we're
Steam.
talking about Valve today, so
Frickin' enter the Steam bath. Welcome to some Steam.
yes.
As you walk into the bath.
Yes, as I play the Pyro class from Team Fortress 2, going into the waters of the sewer piping in 2 Fort TF2. Yes. You're gonna hear a lot of clicking, so apologies for that now. But,
Alright.
well, what can you do? When you're
Very
playing
nice.
an online video game, you're gaming, brother. You're
Aren't you
gaming.
Aren't you telepathic? Can't you control the character with your mind? No?
Last I checked, there ain't a wire that I can just stick into my eyeball and connect to a computer.
That would be terrible regardless, just jamming into your eyeball. It'd be horrible. It'd be like the base of the skull maybe, but in your eye? Jeez. Takes like a freaking a telephone line and just jam it into your eye. Freaking Wi-Fi line or something. A phone line and just. Oh, here's the dial-up noise.
Oh God. Ah,
Bad
just the
memories.
dial-up noise. That's just like pure nostalgia trip. Just like,
Mm.
oh yes, the internet before the internet.
Yeah, for anyone who's old enough to remember the dial-up noise. Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically,
I do.
anyone's old enough for the dial-up noise because people
We have
still
people
use
these
it.
days that don't.
Yeah,
I
it's like people still use it.
Well, Uncle Jerry out in Nevada, who is still functioning on 1950s technology and has a vinyl record player, doesn't count.
Nah, I would say he does because he's still using it. Counts as using it.
Alright, then fine, we'll count him as using it. But still, exception not the rule.
Yes.
Anyways, so, with that aside, today we'll be talking about, as Justin alluded to, I'm Nick, this is Justin. Welcome to the Midweek Report. I probably should start with that and not end with that. Anyways, all that is said, shit, I was about to do the intro again.
Third intro.
Calm myself. Third intro today, oh goodness. Okay, so we're talking about the Steam Deck today. There, I said it. Whew, good. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I mean, I told him that too, but all right. I'm important too.
Important too. I get paid too. Yes, as he says, we are talking about the Steam Deck today and all the things that come with it. Let's start off with the more interesting part. What do you think about the Steam Deck, Justin? Have you seen anything about it?
I've been reading about it ever since it first, the whispers and all that started to come out because this is a Valve related thing, and well, I'm playing a Valve related game that doesn't get much attention, but it's big talk when it comes
Mhm.
to Valve because Valve doesn't do too much, and when they do, it tends to be big talk for people because it's like, oh hey, they're doing something. I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what they're getting
It's like
into.
poking a bear and then it moves. Everyone's like, it's living!
It lives. It lives.
It's alive!
It's alive. But yeah, no, pretty much, it's one of those things where it's just when something does happen, you kind of notice because those who are interested in their works notice pretty quickly. Anyways, Steam Deck. What do you know about it?
I know a little bit about it. I've not been following it since its inception, mind you. I have only been recently started refollowing it now that it's officially launched.
Yes.
And the
They
interesting.
have everything set up for you to buy now. Actually, in
Mhm.
different levels. So we'll get to that
In
in a
different
moment.
levels. We'll get to that, though, yes, we will get to that. And it is interesting though, because at first I remember I remember looking at this like while I was perusing my Steam page, right? And I
Yeah.
see the Steam Deck, and I'm like, only $499, like thing. Okay, that's weirdly cheap considering I have a Switch that's like twice that price. um, or actually, no, it was like 600, I think, on the market now. Though, correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I've seen the Switch prices. But anyways,
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, 499 for the base version. And there's 3 different tiers. Okay.
I see.
About those tiers, though, let's go over them real quickly, just so our audience knows. So, for those who, well, actually, let's go over what the exactly Steam Deck is. For those who don't know what the Steam Deck is,
Yes.
for the laymen,
The
don't worry,
Steam.
we've all been there.
Yeah, the Steam Deck is kind of meant to be a type of Nintendo Switch type of thing. Kind of like the same thing with the portable PS player a while ago. It's like
Yeah,
that, but for PC games. Like basically
So-
PC games on the go. Which, I mean, this is basically laptop light.
So, yeah, basically that's a nice way of describing it. Think 1/2 gaming PC, 1/2 Nintendo Switch. You smash them together, this is what you kind of get.
In other words, laptop light. I mean,
Yes.
I'm not
You know what? You should trademark that term.
Like,
gotta
I'm not
trademark that
gonna say it's bad, because it's certainly got its uses.
It's a good idea.
Because
It's a good idea.
obviously the Nintendo Switch is doing well, and, well, you know.
Portable gaming has always been their shtick. Every
Yeah.
time someone tries to break into that field. In fact, fun story, side note, before we get into the tangents of like what the price is. Way back in the day, you mentioned the Vita and the PSP before that, which were PlayStation's attempts way back in the day to get into the portable gaming market. The reason why they eventually ended, restarted, then came back, and then ended again, is because they kept trying to break into the market. But anyone who knows the industry knows that Nintendo has a firm grip on the portable gaming space, and anyone who tries to break in, they learn quickly how territorial Nintendo can be. It is not easy to break into that market whatsoever. So
yeah, it's not. So they've got a pretty hard grip on it, but we'll see how it goes.
Which is why, like I said, PlayStation has tried repeatedly over the years to do it and has failed repeatedly. So, but Steam Deck itself, what exactly the Steam Deck is it's basically, as Justin has pointed out, laptop light. Think a gaming PC in the space of a Switch that runs the Steam launcher.
Yep.
And it allows you to basically download the games onto this device, any game on your Steam library, mind you, and play it on the thing. Basically, play any game on your Steam library on the go. So it's basically purely a Steam player, which, considering Steam is like the biggest marketplace on the gaming, like it's basically the de facto store where you buy PC games these days. The days of buying games in store for PC, at least, are long over.
Yeah.
Another thing I fondly remember, but I don't know, maybe not fondly, but I do remember it. But
I know it well.
maybe not nicely, but I know it well. But yeah, so basically you can play your Steam games on the Steam Deck as long as you have them in the Steam store, and it allows you to basically run the Steam store. On that note, phlegm. Steam is currently in the process of combing through their entire library of games on their store, which I hate to be the dude in charge of that job. And basically ranking them on their list. They've got, I think, 3 to 4 different tiers. And again, all of this is in the articles below. And they have 4 tiers on their list. The top 2, and I can't remember which order, is verified and playable. I think it's verified and then playable and then the other 2, in that order. So what does that translate to? Well, it basically means if the game has been listed as verified, it means you can play it on the Steam Deck without issue. If it's playable, then it's actually playable on the deck. Don't get me wrong, you can do it, but it might be a little cumbersome to play with. Not the best experience in the world, but certainly doable. And from what they say, as of this moment, they've already verified 1,000 games and playabled another 1,000 on their list.
Yes.
So the list is already pretty big. There's at least 2,000 between them. So
in speaking of games, some of these games are very high intensive games, so I am hoping the Steam Deck is very capable of handling it. Hopefully.
We'll get to that.
Hopefully.
There's
I
a few
don't know.
points
I don't know exactly about the specifics on that part. So.
Well, it's got some pretty high-end tech in it, all things considered. But that's not what concerns me in terms of handleability. But we'll get into that later.
Okay.
So, as mentioned prior, there's 3 different versions of the Steam Deck that Steam themselves is up for grabs at the current moment. There's the base model at 400. There's 499 Canadian. Again, we're in Canada. I work off Canadian dollars. Sorry to the American viewers. You just have to do your own conversions. And this one is a 64 gigabyte drive, 64 gigabyte hard drive, eMMC. So basically, it's a hard drive.
Yeah.
So the old-fashioned hard drive, 64 gigabytes, nothing shiny, no bells and whistles, 64 gigs, and there you go. With a reserve price of $570 across the board for all 3 models. Because, like I said, these things are selling hot. You can put a little extra to get a reservation in.
You know,
and then you got
going for you.
Yep. That's the what I like to call economy model. Not very expensive by comparison, not very big, not very shiny, not a lot of bells and whistles, but it gets the job done. The economy Steam Deck. Then we've got what I like to call the middle of the road Steam Deck. This one's the center of the page. This one's $699. This one's $659, so about a $100+ jump from the last one. But in exchange for that, you are getting a 256 gigabyte SSD, NVMe specifically, so it's a pretty good in terms of SSD, which means faster storage if you're not aware of technical jargon. Basically, SSDs are faster than old-fashioned hard drives, so you're getting faster storage by getting the SSD in general. Plus, it's a massive space increase compared to the last one. With that comes a carrying case, which is also available for the economy class, and also an exclusive Steam Community Profile Bundle, whatever the heck that is. That's in your middle-of-the-ground deck. Then you've got the third and final Steam Deck up for grabs, which I like to call the Premium Deck. This one's got all the shiny bells and whistles, and it's also really expensive. $819 Canadian to be precise. So, pretty pricey, but again, you're getting another space increase of quite a bit, from 256 gig for the middle ground to 512 gig for the premium, so pretty big. And again, NVMe SSD, so fast storage. With that, you're also, however, getting a premium anti-glare glass etched cape. You're also getting a anti-glare etched glass, so the glass on this particular deck is etched, so it's actually anti-glare. Could be useful, especially if you're in the more sunny areas of the world. Exclusive carrying case, whatever the hell that is. Exclusive community profile bundle, again previously Varen, as well as an exclusive virtual keyboard theme.
There you go.
Again, whatever that is.
Well, that might be I don't know. That might be like some kind of digital type of theme. That's all I can really think of.
The only real like physical boost outside of the spatial for the premium is of course the anti-glare glass that they build this particular model with. So like I said, if you're in the more sunny areas of the world, might be worth investing. Especially if you're a big gamer on the go, so to speak.
Yeah.
And again, the 2000 plus...
It's certainly got its uses for it all.
Oh yes, certainly. And like I said, they're still combing over their library as we speak to validate more games. I'm sure those 2,000 plus game numbers have already increased as we speak. Like I said, Steam is combing over, by their own admission, their entire library, so... Yeesh. They've probably got like an entire army of people doing that.
Alright.
So, there's your price schemes, there's what you're getting, there's how you're getting it. Side note, they say that choose which version to reserve below. So for this, you can buy this straight from Steam themselves. It's actually kind of funny if I can get a lot of Steam money in this and then buy it with the Steam money. That'd be kind of funny. Actually, that might be how this works. I'll just buy like a ton of like gift cards, put them in, and then buy it with the Steam money.
I'd be willing to bet, and 100%
probably how it works,
because I'm going to get. Like, I know if I did bet, I'd be getting money out of this, but it is very much likely to just be, you connect your Steam account to it, and you go.
Yeah, you just connect your Steam account to this deck, and away you go. Anyways, when you reserve this, you'll receive an email, according to them, and you'll have 72 hours to complete your purchase. Why do you have a 72-hour gap after you get emailed your receipt? Maybe there's a little bit of a grace period to actually pay the full sum. Like I said, this is quite a massive chunk of change. or it might be because they're expecting some kind of backup delay. So if you can get in, like, right now, you have another 72 hours to try and get in to actually finalize the purchase. Though that's just me speculating.
Yeah.
All of these orders right now are dated to be expected available Q3, so the third quarter, of October this year or later. So if you buy one as of right now, you're going to be waiting a little bit before you get it, but you'll get it eventually.
There you go.
So there's the Steam Deck in its totality as far as we stand now. On to the nitty-gritty details that I've been saving for later in the video. This is a big one. I think I'll start off with the big one. Cut straight to the dark meat, I like to say. Console drift, or controller drift. Anyone who's playing a game in this generation of gaming probably hears that and the hairs on the back of their neck stand up. And they probably instinctively look to their nearest controller going, is it broken? Now, again, for those who don't know what controller drift is, it is a phenomena that occurs when a controller has basically reached a certain point in its lifespan. This can happen for a variety of reasons. It could be dirt getting into the actual mechanisms and sensors of the controller. It could just be the actual elastics in the controller itself that keep it, or the actual springs, I should say, that correct the controller's positioning every time you release it, so you don't have to manually reset it every time you release a controller, get a little bit bent out of shape. There's a ton of reasons, and there's a whole science behind why it happens, but to make the whole simplification easy to understand, it's this. I move a controller left, and then I pull it back, and even though I'm not touching my controller, my character is still going left, or I'm not even touching the controller at all, and my character suddenly decides to turn right. And it keeps turning right, permanently. Now, there are degrees of severity to this issue. Sometimes you might have to right the controller and it works again. Sometimes you might never be able to wrestle your character back from turning right. Yeah. I've had that happen to me in multiplayer matches. It is a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
I'm sure it confuses the hell out of everyone on the field, though.
Well, I mean, it's real quick side note. It's basically the equivalent of you're playing with other people. You're seeing them run around. Then all of a sudden you see one guy shooting, and they're just kind of walking forward and shooting, but they're not looking in any other direction. They're not moving in any other direction. They're just going forward and shooting. And then you realize, that kind of looks like they're lagging. Like, it's basically the equivalent of lagging, but on the physical plane.
Basically, the science of controller drift is your controller is registering actual movement without you actually moving the control. So it's registering essentially phantom movement. Again, there's a whole reasons for why this can happen. Could be dirt, could be grime, could be the system is finally worn down, could be the actual actuators in the controller, not the controller, and the actual joysticks themselves have been worn away, so they're giving faulty signals. And there's a lot of technical terms behind it and all that. But essentially, like I said, it's phantom input where there isn't any.
Yeah.
Which can make a gaming session very difficult, especially depending on the level of console drift severity you have. Or controller drift severity. Why do I bring this up? Well, this is becoming a massive issue in this particular current generation. I myself have already been through several PlayStation controllers because of it. Yeah, it's costing quite a bit of money, but that's a whole other tangent for a whole other video. Switch was actually where we first saw this manifest in the new generation. Back when Nintendo Switch first came out, people started reporting after their Switches were used for some time, maybe by their kids or maybe by themselves, that their controllers would start registering phantom movement where there wasn't any. Kids would leave their controller down, or you put your controller down, and all of a sudden Legend of Zelda, and all of a sudden your Link in your Legend of Zelda playthrough starts turning right for some reason, despite you not touching the controller. And this was an issue that proliferated across all Switches. Again, people looked into it. It turned out to be the manifestation of controller drift, and this is when we first started hearing about it. Nintendo, for their own admission, didn't actually acknowledge this issue for quite a few years in the Switch's lifespan, only acknowledging it within the last 2 to 3 years, and then saying, okay, fine, tell you what, you have this issue, send your controllers in, we'll patch them free of charge. Because it became such a big issue. Now there is another issue. Now there is another solution, which is just buy new controllers. And again, this whole kind of issue of controller drift, in a way, does manifest because joysticks themselves do have a lifespan like any other piece of machinery.
Yes, and it's going to wear down very quickly the more you use it.
The reason why we didn't see this in previous generations is because we kind of did. It's just it was always such a small amount of drift for some reason that it was just non-negligible.
Yeah.
At least that's what I've been told.
Yeah, there wasn't much there to begin with, so
in fact, I once heard of
about it as much.
In fact, I once heard of a story way back on a side tangent of a Smash Brothers playthrough back on the GameCube when they were having a tournament for it. Someone actually brought a controller to the tournament for GameCube back again because this is an old GameCube game that actually didn't have any drift on it that they saw, and he was actually banned from the tournament because everyone had drift, so it just became a common accepted handicap across the board. So anyone who actually doesn't have the handicap, ironically, has an unfair advantage. Weird, right? The one guy who's actually normal can't compete because he's normal. But if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well,
So,
how
regardless.
How dare.
How dare you have a normally perfectly functioning controller for a 30-year-old console? How dare you? But, jokes aside, though, the reason I bring this up is because with the Switch, the Xbox, and the PlayStation, it's not been too much of a big deal. Worst case scenario, you just buy a new set. With the Switch, at least the base model, the Joy-Cons can detach and be resynced with another pair of sticks. So if your sticks go faulty, just buy a new set. Again, this isn't a cheap option by any means, but it's certainly the easiest option. The other option is fix them yourselves, which, unless you have knowledge of soldering and mechanical parts, I wouldn't suggest it. I mean, I have taken controllers apart myself, but unless you have replacement joysticks,
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So, either fix it yourself or buy a new one. And again, this has not been a too big issue, a nuisance, but not a big issue, because like I said, you can just buy a new set of controllers for all these consoles. There is the option to have a new set. With the Steam Deck, the joysticks are actually embedded into the actual hardware itself. They are not detachable like the Switch. Generations past, this wouldn't have been a big issue because the drift hadn't become a major issue until this generation of gaming. But since it's become such a big issue, it's worth bringing up. The possibility that if your sticks in the deck start getting drift, what do? You can't pop them off and replace them like you can with the Switch.
No, it's not as
unless you start sawing your deck in half, which I think might cause more damage than
as a fix as it would be. Pardon me.
Lost a match? I'm going to presume you lost a match, because I'm not actually tracking your gameplay right now.
No, I'm just playing on a 24-hour server, and I just kind of...
What is this, like a freaking, store?
Kinda. Might as well. Trade server.
Freaking all-night drive-through.
Literally trade me. But I just had... well, not just anymore, but I had an interesting headshot, to say the least, where the hitbox did not feel right, but that is what it is for you.
It read you on freaking Team Fortress?
Basically.
I'm sorry, overnight server.
I am 300 miles away, but I still get headshot. Yes.
Freaking
that hurt. That hurt.
All-night servers, freaking... What is this, like a drive-through? Freaking all-night drive-through for the midnight burner who wants to get his fix of TF2?
Basically. I mean, there's 24-hour servers for pretty much any map almost. If there's a map that people like, there tends to be 24-hour servers for it.
Someone in their house just has like a... Anyways, moving on.
Anyways.
Side tangent aside.
Side tangent of side tangent, actually.
Yes, side tangent of a side tangent. So anyways, that's why I bring up the whole issue of controller drift. Because like I said, the Steam Deck's joysticks are actually soldered into the main board, and they're not detachable like the Joy-Cons for the Switch, where they can come off the actual main unit. And they're their own independent thing. they're actually soldered in there as one massive piece. They're one massive, well, deck. So if they break, in this case you have two options, same options as before. Fix them yourself, so take apart your deck and resolder new joysticks into your deck, which, side note, those who actually do know technology will tell you might not actually be a great thing sometimes, because they actually come pre-aligned from the factory. Joysticks come pre-programmed and pre-aligned when they're built, so soldering in new ones might not be the greatest idea sometimes.
Yeah, it might.
Unless you know how to realign things.
Yeah, it might not end well at all.
Or buy a whole new Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Which, as I just covered the pricing, you're probably already saying in your head, "Oh, hell no!"
Yeah, come on, don't you want to spend like over
another 800?
Yeah, it's like don't you want to spend like around 500 and then spend around another 500? Come on.
I mean, yeah, controllers and joysticks and Joy-Cons are expensive, but it won't. At most, they're what, $100-something, maybe less, depending on where you live.
Yeah.
Which is a lot less than 500 plus.
Yes.
So, that's at least 5 sets right there.
Come on.
So.
No, you spend the money. Spending the money is good for you.
Yeah, capitalism, children, but and rampant consumerism. I hate that word, but so yeah, it's really an issue. I'm surprised no one's actually touched on it.
Yeah, well, that's controllers drifting and all that. Well, joystick drifting, really. Not really.
Yeah, joystick technically.
Not really controller drifting, because controllers.
It's part of the controller.
Yeah, controllers.
In this case,
have
it's
that. I forget what it's called, but it's that other input button that has the 4 directions and tends to be relegated.
D-pad and stuff like that.
Yeah, it tends to be relegated towards like item selection or specific ability selection.
Yeah,
but there's that too, and there are people who actually use that for like. Instead of using their joystick, which I don't know how they do, but they do. They do.
That's gotta be a nightmare to work with.
You have to press 2 at the same time in order to move like on angles and stuff, and it's like. Bruh.
That's like that one dude who ended up playing like Smash Brothers with like bananas. Or bongos and stuff like that. It's just, I've seen it happen. He rewires it.
Beats Minecraft with a steering wheel.
Oh crap! A creeper! Turn right.
Basically.
Pedal to the metal. What happened? I saw a creeper.
It's over. The game's done.
Game's done. Rage quit for racing games. Take the wheel. Chuck it out the window. But anyways, so it's worth mentioning. So other things worth mentioning, though, is that with any new product, there are YouTube channels who are already dissecting them legitimately to give you more hardware specifics.
Yes.
I believe iFixit on YouTube has already dissected a Steam Deck to give you the in layer of the actual system itself, which I wanted to bring up. It's not really important to the overall knowledge of the Steam Deck. It's a nice little overlay and stuff like that. But I just wanted to bring this up because, as I just covered, these are expensive pieces of equipment. And the fact that we have YouTubers just buying them just to take them apart on air, hey. I don't know.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
It's painful just to watch. It's like the dummy version that they buy just to take apart. It's like you see all the microchips laid out and everything. It's like, well done. You've just dissected a Switch, literally. You performed an autopsy on one. But you just performed an autopsy on a Steam Deck, in this case. So it's, where do they get the money for these things? Hope it wasn't the expensive version.
Hopefully it wasn't the near $900 one.
Honestly. What's that? Oh, that's the near 900. Oh, you're going to play that? No, I'm going to dissect this live on air. Take out every single microchip to show the audience. Ah, congratulations. You just wasted $900. Well, I don't know. Depends on how good their YouTube ad revenue is and stuff like that. Maybe they make it all back from the video itself. I don't know. In that case, it might be more of just a
like,
cost expense.
I can understand sponsors, but some of those channels, man, I'm just sitting here like.
I mean,
bruh.
iFixit himself has got like at least over a few million views, maybe a few million. Yeah, certainly a few million, I believe. So who knows? Maybe he's got ad revenue out the ass, and maybe he can just write this kind of thing off as a business expense.
Pardon me.
At least I hope so.
Pardon me, just taking a second to go and get free dominations by literally just shooting a man for 2 seconds and not even killing them. Because, you know,
this is what we call lag, children.
Yeah, no, it's not even lag. It's kill participation. Be like, ah, yes, I'm just gonna shoot you with 2 bullets and then get a free kill.
I shot you with 1 bullet, thus I killed you.
Yes, I took part.
Spiritual.
I took part in killing you so much. Come on, dude. I helped. I did. So
My
much.
1 bullet, man. You would have been 1 bullet closer to life had I not shot you with that 1 bullet, man. I deserve the credit. Freaking snipers over the water cooler. I deserve that kill, man.
I'm actually doing all right as sniper. Normally, I'm not this well done. Holy crap.
I mean, in the case of the sniper, 1 bullet is kind of your whole shtick, so.
It is, but normally I'm not good with my aim. Normally I don't get 20 headshots. And normally
I just play Demo Night.
And normally not with the Machina. Normally I don't get so many kills with the Machina. I don't even normally use it. Oh, I did play Demo Night. I did kind of play Demo Night. Not a good Demo Night, but I did kind of play Demo Night. But Demo Night doesn't particularly work well when, you know, the other team has pyros, medics, and soldiers.
So I've been told the pyro is the true threat. That in turrets.
Yes. People were watching me play pyro earlier, and pyro in the right circumstances, if the enemy team isn't paying attention, yeah, no, pyro can really make your life unhappy. I mean, any class can do that, but Pyro can do it very quickly because of the fact that he has the capability of doing extreme amounts of DPS very quickly, aka Meat Grinder.
The Meat Grinder. But
anyways.
So there you go.
That's... So, yeah, no, for those who are interested, the Steam Deck's got like plenty of games. I'd be willing to bet Team Fortress. I know Subnautica's on there. I'm betting there's a few other specific games that are going to be on there as well. But
interestingly enough, a review of the thing came in from The Purge, and they said that it is a joy, but it is a mess. So look into that. I have not read the review myself. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was going to say it's like
it is in the comment section below, or in the description below,
yes,
with our other sources. So if you want to look at it, go ahead. Another thing we linked down there, which is quite fun, someone took their Steam Deck and decided to basically jack it up beyond all hell. Basically, they took this thing and put it on steroids, because they basically took the Steam Deck and then hooked it up to a 400, and then hooked it up to a modern graphics card, a 2080 Ti, I think.
Yeah.
And just like started pushing all of this stuff into it, and they're able to get their Steam Deck running 4K 60 60. 4K at 60 FPS.
That's basically how it works. That's pretty much how it works. It's like, yeah, no, let me just rip this thing open and make it even better in like 5 seconds.
Granted, the GPU itself that they hooked this thing up to is bigger than the deck itself, just with fans alone.
So in other words, they turned laptop light into laptop.
Into laptop, yes. It's in the description. It's the deck itself is smaller than the GPU itself. With like the fans, it's horrifying. Let me just look into the actual like other things about this too, so we can bask in the madness. I'll read this on air for us. Not all of it, mind you. I'll get to the good parts.
Read some of it though.
Yeah. So apparently a YouTuber, ETA Prime, posted a 10-minute video, which is linked in the actual article of this, showing the steps they took to get everything working. Again, this is the article talking, not me. Pointing out that it's not a very practical solution, no shit,
yeah.
but was simply carried out just to see if it's possible.
I do
By
experiment.
opening up
I do experiments. Little experimenting.
by opening up the handheld and removing the SSD storage. So again, this is the second or third option. So not the cheap version here. From the M.2 expansion slot. So basically the storage slot. Prime, the YouTuber, was able to replace it with a Radeon RX 690 XT GPU. Expensive.
A little
Beyond
bit.
all else.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Like that thing's
I think that's like top of the line right now, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me just look this up. Let me just look up.
Take a quick second.
Let me just
look
look
it
up this
Is it the
GPU.
top line?
It is.
That was not a headshot. No. I'm sorry. I just needed to take a second and say that because that was not.
This thing by itself, according to the numbers I'm looking up on the back of the napkin search results, it's an AMD, so it's not an NVIDIA's GTX, so different type. But this thing by itself, the card, $999, possibly American, and it is a premium high-end graphics card.
So certainly up there.
Expensive and possibly top of the line at the moment. So, so basically, took the Steam Deck and then put it on the most powerful graphics card the money can buy right now. Well, maybe second or third most, but still.
Yeah.
And again, it's ridiculous. The deck is smaller than the graphics card itself. Ay.
Yeah, well, what can you do?
Actually, no, that might be the graphics card off the... No, that might be the graphics card off the side. Yeah, no. Actually, no, wait. Nope.
Well,
shit, nope. The deck is smaller than the card.
Well, speaking of specifics, what do you know for the actual deck and its specifics?
What, like what?
Like its, I don't know, stats.
Oh, you mean its actual well, on Steam itself, they actually have the stats. Let's read over some of them now, for those who are interested. View technical stats. So the processor we're looking at here is an AMD APU. There's a lot of technical jargon, so those who don't know technical jargon, you might wanna
take a seat.
Tune out now.
Yeah, take a seat for a second here. Don't worry.
We got a Zen 2 4C by 8T, which is a 2.3 to 3.5 gigahertz. However, it can go up to 448 gigaflops.
Gigaflops.
Yeah, gigaflops, not teraflops, gigaflops.
You just gotta take
That's the next one.
You just have to take a quick second and be like, who
everyone who doesn't know technical jargon is sitting there on going, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
And for the GPU, we got an 8 R&D, 2 CU, which is 1 to 1.6 gigahertz. However, it can go to 1.6 teraflops. So it equates to about 1.6 teraflops.
Well, there you go.
And then RAM, we got your standard 62 gigabyte, or gigabyte, gigabyte, 16 gigabytes. So that's typical standard RAM for basically most gaming stuff these days. Phones also, I believe, most modern phones have 16 gigabytes RAM.
About, yeah. So.
Storage. For the storage, we got 3 different versions depending on the one you're looking at. The base economy version, like I said, 64 gigabytes eMMC Pascal Gen 2. Second version, middle ground, 256 gigabytes NVMe SSD. This is a Pascal Gen 3. Or Pascal, maybe pronounce it wrong. And then the premium version is a 512 gigabyte. So 512 gigabytes, high-speed ANVE. So its SSD is actually higher speed than the last one. So maybe you never know.
Yeah, you don't know until you do.
So it looks like the top one is not only an SSD, but a very fast SSD. And all models include a high-speed micro SD card for increased storage capacity. Though if you're getting premium, I'm not sure why you need it. I mean, come on. 412? I can fit my entire PS5 on that!
Those are rookie numbers.
Rookie numbers.
You gotta bump those numbers up.
And of course, we got the D-pad, LR, da-da-da-da. You know, your usual buttons. Although, interesting, the Switch, not the Switch, I keep saying the Switch, maybe because I'm comparing them in my head. The Steam Deck has something quite unique with its controller, with its gamepad controllers, in that it's got 4 assignable grip buttons.
Wow.
So if you look to the bottom left of the Steam Deck, you'll see an almost square.
Mm-hmm. And you can kind of like reassign some of the buttons and stuff.
Yeah, it looks like the square to the left and right might be reassignable.
Yeah.
Or so I think.
Well, that's good. A little bit of customization for you.
It's got HD haptics, whatever the hell that is.
I do not. No, I do not understand. I do not care.
Now for the really fun part, the resolution. 1280 by 800. So, 16 by 10 aspect ratio is not terrible.
No.
I think it's better than the Switch, at least.
There you go.
Though I'll have to check that. Actually, now I'm gonna check. What is the resolution of the Switch? Now I'm curious. Since we're comparing it a lot in this video. Okay, no, it is better than the Switch, which is 1080 by 720p. So, So this one's better.
Come on. Nah. How do you mess up my... Okay, at least you killed him. I was gonna say, it's like, my guy, I was fighting these 2 dudes and you come in and you just don't shoot any shots on him. Please, teammate. Finish him.
He's having a moment.
It's like, finish him.
My editor is having a moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't
But,
leave me.
anyways, moving on.
Oh, hello,
We got a
gamer.
60 gigahertz refresh rate on this thing. It's touch enabled, so it's got a touchpad. That's pretty obvious, so I imagine.
Yeah.
Got ambient light sensors, so I'm assuming this is for the light of the room. So it might turn up and down the brightness depending on the lighting in the room. I don't know.
That's,
maybe.
I mean, that's good for people who are kind of doing outside-based stuff a fair amount.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you're kind of sitting around, like, a window and all that, you kind of have a thing that goes and dampens during the evening and night. That way you're not hurting your eyes and, you know, damaging them, because you kind of need that if you're playing video games.
Might also be used in games. I don't know. Maybe the light sensor has something to do with certain games.
Yeah, actually, I can see that, because some games could maybe utilize that. Depends.
Bluetooth, we got a 5.0. So, So it supports controllers, accessories, and audio. So if you want to pair an outside controller to the deck, you can, it seems. Which, touching back on controller drift, you might have to eventually.
Yeah.
Headphone jack. This thing has headphone jack. As for battery life, this thing is looking to about 2 to 8 hours of gameplay for a 40 watt-hour battery.
So in other words, expect around 4 hours, maybe.
I mean, it's a pretty high-end machine, so it's not a terrible surprise here.
No. It's just the only reason I say that is because, like, take it from me, someone who has a laptop that's meant to last around 2 days.
Well, it depends on how old it is. Remember,
No,
batteries
it's not that old. No, it's not that old. Even when I first started using it, it was the same. but it's meant to last around 2 days for like casual use, and then for extreme use, at least
2 minutes.
well, no, like at least around 10 hours, and at least 1 hour normally for me. So
Normally, but
normally. So at least take that 8 hours as like a baseline. Like if you're just kind of casually going with it, take that as the baseline.
batteries are pretty. If you know tech and you know how to replace
batteries have been have been improving, and when combined with like capacitors and stuff like that, you can get a lot out of for your charge and all that. So
even so, I mean, even worst case scenario, batteries are probably the easiest thing to replace in any electronic, because they're often the biggest and therefore easiest to access. So worst case scenario, you might have to buy a new battery for your Steam Deck, though. Like I said, a little bit of dissection never hurt anybody, and those are typically pretty easy to access because they're actually made to be taken out typically.
Yeah.
And operating system is the Steam OS 3.0, which for those who don't know is a Linux based. Just thought I'd mention that for anyone out there who's interested.
Yep, there you go.
Or at least I believe I remember reading that it was Linux based, so.
Not
surprising, because if you're Windows and Apple based, you'd have to pay royalty fees to Windows, and probably a blood sacrifice on top of that if you're dealing with Apple.
Yes.
Because it's Apple. Yeah, just because it's Apple, you have to pay like a blood sacrifice and, I don't know, the blood of the blood of a virgin goat or something, I don't know, to bleed on the altar of Apple.
TF2 moment.
Anyways.
But, you gotta give your heart, kidney, soul, that brain.
Heart, kidney, soul, lungs.
20,000 pounds of all stonks, and you should maybe be even.
Should maybe be even. You never know.
Maybe.
Never know. Freaking the CEO, the founder of Apple might rise from the grave and demand your soul in exchange. I don't know. Depends.
It depends.
I don't even remember what the hell the founder of Apple was called.
Money?
Do you have the money? But anyways, that's the Steam Deck for you. Covered some of its issues, covered some of its flaws, covered some opinions on it. How long are we in the stream? I don't know. Have we done that long?
Not really stream, but we're
video stream.
48 matter. 48 matters. 48 minutes.
48 matters. Yes, 48 matters. I couldn't give more. But okay.
Yes. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Don't worry. I'm not judging you too hardly. Okay. Yeah. No. I think we'll keep it there.
No. Like. Pretty much. Yeah.
Stretch is not anywhere in the script this week, so I don't have to.
Like, this is kind of just one of those things that it's like it is good to have, and it's kind of been one of those things that people kind of always wanted, like being able to just kind of play your stuff anywhere on the go. I mean, that's kind of the whole purpose of a laptop. But you're removing the whole clunkiness of the laptop.
I mean, Steam has for the longest time been trying to put their store on other devices outside PCs.
Yes.
I can't remember what it was called, but there was like a thing they tried to put like the Steam, like streaming Steam to your TV.
Yeah.
So you could kind of use your computer.
Yeah.
I remember that. I thought that was a cool idea. I never got one, but I thought it was a cool idea.
It's still built into Steam. I'm not too sure, because it's really clunky to use sometimes. I tried messing around with it a little bit, and it wasn't fun.
But yeah, Steam has certainly been trying to put their stuff on other platforms. So in your face, Tim Sweeney and the rest of Epic Games.
In your face. I'm literally putting my same platform just on,
on the handheld. Can you do that, Epic Games? Huh? Do that with your Epic Store launcher. Put Fortnite on mobile. Actually, no, they've done that already. Can you put Fortnite on? Actually, there's not a place I haven't put it. Damn it!
They've already beat me.
They've beaten me, but yeah, it's
I'll
like
beat them
put
at
the
their
Epic
own
Games,
game. I don't care.
put the Epic Game Store on the phone. Try that. Aha! Touche.
Now what?
Honestly, there will come a day when I can just download Steam onto my phone and play games on Steam on my phone. Actually, that's a good idea. Steam, if you're listening, you can have that one for free. But I won't even charge for that idea. But
Bruh. Bruh, that MP4 plays.
hey, it's Western society. I can claim copyright over an ideal.
I can do whatever I want. It's mine to copyright for some reason.
I mean, that's the biggest. Like, side note, that's the biggest thing between that's the biggest problem. Or no, not biggest problem. The biggest difference between Asian countries and Western countries, or Asian society and Western society. Asian society, if you base it on the idea of Buddha, and that's why copyright isn't much of a thing out east, and that's why there's a lot of knockoffs out east. Fun fact, or at least as far as I've been told, because Buddha, which is Buddhism, is a big idea out east, right? And the philosophy of Buddha was one of his things is that he specifically says you can't own an idea. An idea is open knowledge. You can't own knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowledge is open to everyone. So, in a way, just as the Bible in Western society says a bunch of things, the Buddhist Bible, which I'm not sure what that would even... I don't know. What do the Buddhists... Do they have a holy tome? I'm not sure. I'll have to look. But, basically, Buddha outlawed copyright before it was even a thing. He was very ahead of his time. But,
yeah.
Whereas in the West, very much you can have
gets copyrighted
control over an idea.
Seconds.
How dare you say the word hello? Don't you know that I own that word?
What? You're a company that owns a character, but you keep remaking the character in order to extend their... I mean, what?
I feel like you're going somewhere with that, but you stopped yourself. Anyways,
I
so
stopped
that's
for very specific reasons, but yes.
Yes, anyways. But, that's a Steam Deck. I won't stretch this anymore than I have to. That's our opinions, that's our ideas, that's the fears at least I think are going to come into the Steam Deck.
I mean, when you really think about it, controller drift is kind of the lightest of things that could go on with it, really.
I mean, other than the usual problems of battery death and stuff like that, but those are really issues that you can solve by just replacing batteries.
Yeah, but like that. Well, not. It's probably not going to be replaced batteries, my guy. We're not that far. Like we're not that old.
Not that kind of replace battery. I mean, like take the thing apart and actually take out the battery pack and stuff like that.
Yeah. And,
technical knowledge to do that. Admittedly, it's not like replacing AAAs.
Yeah, and I'd be willing to.
AAAs.
I'd very much be willing to bet that they'll probably have some kind of support set up for people who need repairs and stuff. So.
Well, I'm sure they do. It's Steam. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, I love the commercial they got for Steam Deck. They're showing like a bunch of people playing underwater on a skateboard in the dentist's office, surfing. You can see maybe a few of those. Definitely not surfing. I'm sorry, if you're playing your Steam Deck while you're surfing, you've got bigger problems. Don't slip.
Yeah.
There's like two of them here where it's like, okay, I can see you playing the Steam Deck at the dentist or in the grocery store or on a car trip or in a hammock or something like that. But I'm sorry, if you're skiing or surfboarding and you're playing Steam Deck at the same time, you might want to pay attention to that. Just saying. I know a buddy who got really messed up by not paying attention while skiing. Just saying. Screwed his arm up for life.
He's broken.
Honestly, you know that thing where it's like that old joke where it's like you know that old joke where it's like I'm sure I don't think it's supposed to bend that way. Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
Not fun. Not fun. But
you know. Hopefully.
Anyways.
Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. You got the information that you'd would like to glean out of all this, and.
So that's the midweek report. That's our Steam Deck. That's our thoughts. That's our opinions. I'm Nick. Over there providing the gameplay as always is Justin. And as always, it's been a pleasure. Good night.
Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen.